Coming up on this episode of the Curse Sale Podcast, my man LL Cool Tawrence comes through to talk about the Lions opening day of training camp and the injury report updates. Buckle up, Buttercup. It's time to start the show. What up, though? Welcome to the Curse Sale Podcast, your trusted source for Detroit Lions news and rumors. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video with your fellow Detroit Lions fans just like yourself. Today is Monday, July 24th, 2023. Shout out to my family over at Lions Nation Unite. As I said in the intro, I would like to welcome to the show my dude, former co-host of Detroit Lions on the Prowl, LL Cool Tawrence. What's going on, my guy?
What's up? Good morning, Kurt, and good morning, Prowl Nation.
Man, we got to talk about this training camp thing, man. So let's get into this thing right quick because we got to jump into it, man. Lions training camp started yesterday at Allen Park. Dan Campbell had a message about the hype surrounding the team, man. Man said the hype train is out of control. He said the team has to earn the hype. He also said he'll call out anyone acting like they made it and they haven't. So he doesn't want the team to become complacent. This sentiment was echoed by, the face of the franchise right now. Quarterback Jared Goff says it's funny. We went 9-8, missed the playoffs, and now we're the favorites. We haven't done anything. He's talking from a quarterback who's been in the Super Bowl. So my man LL, what do you think about Campbell and Goff talking about the hype train being out of control?
I agree because all of the hype is scaring me for this year. Like, one of my homies sent the screenshot of the Lions are now the betting favorites for this year to win the Super Bowl, whoever it is. I don't know. Something just don't seem right, man. Something just don't seem right. It's like they. You know what they say about Vegas, but it seems like they setting us up for something not so good, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I don't like it at all, Russ.
But I do like the message that's being taught or that's being brought, that's being preached. We ain't did nothing yet. We've been hearing that, so I like that. That's what we've been hearing. Nothing, nothing different, and I'm glad that we didn't do Hard Knocks again because I feel like that might have, helped to exacerbate some of the situations that could happen because of all of this overhyped stuff. But no, I don't really like the hype. I'm glad that they are keeping the hype at a minimum.
Yeah, I feel you. I'm looking at the situation. I'm like, man, we're talking about a team that is ascending. I like the fact that we are on our way to becoming a good team, but we haven't done anything. We went 9-8 last year, like Goff said, didn't make the playoffs. We made a good run, and we could have been dangerous in the playoffs, but we didn't make it. So ifs and buts with coconuts and all that good stuff. You can't look at it like we had success last year. A winning season really isn't it a success if you don't make the playoffs. But I do like the sentiment that Dan Campbell said, saying that we have the pieces to compete, and we have to go in and earn it. If we go in and earn it, and we can be a team that can compete, but we can't just rely on what we think we can do. We have to go out on the field and prove it. So I do like that sentiment.
I like do it,
and I like Jared Goff saying, "Hey, we haven't won anything, man." For Goff, for all his quirks and everybody, down on Goff. Goff's been a good leader in Detroit, and he's one of those guys that, look at his season last year where he turned it around. The guy had a great touchdown to interception ratio. He was, one of the top 5 in most passing categories last year, and he's going out there and proving it. Put the team on his back last year. You look at that stretch where we won some games, but he was throwing just the practice squad guys. He was throwing this, anybody, because his main receivers were out for a good part the middle stretch of the season. But I like what Jared Goff's doing. I like the messaging that he's putting out there, and it echoes the sentiment of Dan Campbell, the head coach. Now, one thing Goff also spoke about is the difference between this season and the previous seasons on the offensive side of the ball. He said he likes the fact that you coming in and you kind of already established. So there's not a lot of installs and not a lot of, learning the offense. The offense is already, in place. So you just having to put some tweaks in here and there, add a couple of things, and then they're going to be a learning curve with some of the new skill position guys you got on the roster. All new backfield with Jahmyr Gibbs and the young fella David Montgomery coming over from Chicago. Then you had and I think it's one of the reasons why they re-signed Justin Jackson to get some continuity in there. I just don't think that Jamar Jefferson is showed enough in the offseason. Greg Bill tried, but he was the guy who got cut to bring in Justin Jackson. Undrafted free agent, had to those are slimmer chance nuns to make a roster anyway, but especially in some what do you call that, predicaments. But what do you think about and one person he did speak about, Jared Goff was talking about getting with Denzel Mims. Now, coming over from the Jets, I haven't heard what your take is on that trade at all. Kind of happened that midweek last week, like kind of late in the evening or the Wednesday evening or something like that. So what do you think about the Denzel Mims trade and then the focus of the offense going forward?
As far as the trade, it don't really mean much. He probably could make the team, probably just another camp body. Word is that Marvin Jones isn't ready to go yet. He's gonna start the year on the PUP list, something like that. So
he's on the NFI right now. He's on the non.
My bad. Yeah, my apologies. NFI list. But
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But go ahead.
Gotcha. But I think that maybe he'll get some reps in practice. From what I heard, he hadn't been doing too much yet, but he just got here. So, but good if it worked out, good for him. I don't really, I don't know what it's gonna mean. Like I said, could be a camp body, could make like the back end of that receiver room or whatever it is. If we keep 5 or 6, he'd probably be wide receiver 5 or 6. But as far as the offense, I'm of course we got rookies at every position, pretty much. Like we got a rookie wide receiver, we got a rookie running back, and we got a free agent running back, and then we got a rookie tight end. So, but I like that all of them are signed, all of them are there, and at least as far as OTAs went, they were all participating. I haven't heard too much about everybody's participation just yet. So far, like everybody this time around, but they have the people in place. We've seen that these are some quality leaders. I feel like Amon-Ra St. Brown helped get the wide receivers caught up and needed. Other guys too, Josh Reynolds, Penei Sewell, anybody. Well, we got a rookie offensive lineman too, but Penei Sewell can help bring those guys along. Running back might be a little bit different. Well, no, because you got Justin Jackson, who, like you said, bringing back continuity. We got Craig Reynolds, but as far as the starters go, and the running back coach is new, so that could be a little bit. But I don't really think it's going to be too much of that because running back. I'm not going to say that because I feel like they're feeling undervalued, so I'm not going to undervalue them either. But running back is a very important position, but I feel like that one might be the easier one to bring along, like to get involved and everything like that. So as far as the offense, I'm okay with, I'm excited. I want to see what they really end up doing. But Marvin Mims, let's see if he makes a team.
Yeah. You look at Denzel Mims, you have a little a different take on it. I think and you mentioned it, I think the Marvin Jones situation may have been it could have been a small factor in that, but you did need some wide receiver depth. He's one of those guys where you can bring him in like last year, like we had a DJ Chark where he come in and he could invigorate himself in Detroit, restart his career. I like the fact that it kind of cost nothing. That's the thing I like about that thing. Well, it was a conditional 6th-round pick. If he makes the roster, you make the trade, but the Lions get Mims and a pick just to give up 1 pick. So they're giving up a 6 to get Mims and a 7th-round pick for 2025. If he doesn't make the team, the deal just goes away. The trade doesn't happen. So, but Brad Holmes was high on him coming out when he came out in 2021.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was high on him coming out of Baylor, with the size and speed, but it was one of those things where um, it just didn't work out. They had to, went a different direction. But the guy was a second round pick. It just didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he worked out in New York. You look at we played in some bad offices, definitely some with some mediocre quarterbacks in New York. So hopefully he can restart his career here in Detroit. And it doesn't have to mean a long term deal. Sometimes it could be like a DJ Truck where he could get his bag somewhere else. He come in and make a splash. But the guy's only 25 years old, so he had a chance to have some longevity in Detroit if he can make a splash. But with all that being said, hey man, do me a favor, like the video, share the video, comment on the video right there, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. And for more content from your man Kurt Steele, head over to kurtsteele.com, man. You can find links to my articles on sidelinereport.com and Yard Barker right there on the homepage, and get yourself some Kurt Steele gear on the homepage as well. Brought to you by Lions Nation Unite. All right, my man LL. Now let's talk about the health of these players, because the Lions camp started surprisingly healthy. The only player absent yesterday was Emmanuel Mosley, who was absent because he's still rehabbing from the ACL injury, and he was put on the PUP list yesterday. And a surprise addition, we talked about this a little bit ago, was Marvin Jones being placed on the non-football injury list to start camp. Now, we talked about this when we were talking about we were on Detroit Lions of the Prowl. The one player we did look at was defensive tackle Levi Onwuzurike, reported to camp healthy and ready to go. Dan Talica said, my man, they're going to ease him back into the defense. So do you think that Levi Onwuzurike has a legitimate shot to make the roster with his injury history?
Yes, but for this reason, I feel like they're gonna give him every chance to, and that's the only reason why I feel like they want to see what if he can actually do something with it. So he'll get a legitimate shot. Other than that, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I don't know if he should. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, you look at it, and I'm looking at this, and this was something where someone says making him being healthy is a surprise, can bring a surprise camp battle for the defensive tackle position as the backup defensive tackle. And I'm like, I'm not sure that he can even make the roster right now, given his health injury, his health history, and you look at the fact that, and I said this before, the last couple of seasons they brought in people to replace him. You bring in a John Cominsky, you bring in a Josh Pascal, Isaiah Buggs, and these guys are still on the roster. So he's behind the 8 ball, or what I'm saying, just trying to catch up to these guys. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can play his way at least maybe on the practice squad or onto the 53-man roster. He's going to have an uphill battle just because of the fact that he has a lot of injuries and as much time as he's missed right there on in the roster, man. But hey, before we get out of here, man, it's time for your favorite segment. It's time for dessert with your man Kurt. Tiny sweet pieces of news and notes about the Detroit Lions. 3 Detroit Lions rookies made splashes in the first day of camp. Running back Jahmyr Gibbs, tight end Sam Laporta, rep with the ones and for team drills, and Brian Branch, man, making plays for the second unit out there, knocking down passes, and he actually made a really good play during the special teams period. So that future is bright in Detroit with those rookies. What do you think about the rookies performing there in camp, LL?
Good to hear. Good to hear. I think it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody.
Okay. Yeah.
Again, I'm excited to see what the rookies gonna do. We got some good rookies, man. At some key positions, and I feel like they're gonna give them opportunities in those positions.
All right. Hey, for everyone out there, man, thank you, my man LL, for coming through and hollering at me about this training camp. Day one observations, man. Tell people where they can find you on social media.
Find me everywhere, LL Cool Tawrence. I'll be back doing content soon. Don't know under what name just yet, but we'll be back soon. But thank you, Kurt, for having me on, and good morning to the rest of y'all.
Thanks to my man LL Cool Tawrence for coming through the show today. Hey, and thanks to you for joining me on today's episode of the Kurt Steele Podcast, your trusted source for Detroit Lions news and rumors. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and drop me a comment. For more content from your man Kurt Steele, head over to kurtsteele.com where you can find links to my articles on Sideline Report and yardbarker.com right there on the whole page. Do your man Kurt Steele a favor, whatever you're doing in life, you got to boss up. Ball out and be the best version of you that you can be. This is Kurt Steele, and I will holla at you real soon.